Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Simon Koster.
Good to see you. How are you, John? Okay. How are you? Hey, Sal, how are you? Good to see you. Hey, Tommy, how are you? Good afternoon. So Design First is an initiative of MAS. It seeks to raise the bar of design across our city. Naturally, we at JDS support the initiative, not just because it's good policy, but as you just heard here on stage, it's good business in and of itself. Though we're increasingly recognized as a developer builder setting the benchmark of design, it just so happens that good, responsible, lasting design is but one of the integral parts of building a business that's focused on the long term. But we must be careful. As I've said before, no one sets out to build a bad building. Many think of design as an aesthetic, but it's not just about looks. Ultimately, design is the best solution to a long list of constraints, not simply referring to policy, zoning, finances, but personalities, preconceived notions, and other non-financial constraints can be equally limiting if there's not good process to see it through. Simply mandating a better design without addressing the root of the problems that erode initial good intentions will not yield a better result. New York City has never had a specific design code. If we did, would this city have been the birthplace of the skyscraper? The 1916 zoning code was focused on maintaining good light and air at the streetscape and led to the creation of some of our most iconic and adored structures by requiring that buildings be set back from the street as they got taller. But other zoning efforts have been less successful and serve as a reminder that sometimes well-intentioned mandates can have unintended results. After 1961, contextual or letter zones put handcuffs on designers. A slew of monotonous buildings in certain parts of the cities followed. This is an issue that city planning is now trying to resolve. The 1916 zoning code addressed the process of design. Later changes were focused on the aesthetic results. Of course, not every builder will produce modern landmarks simply because of policy changes. Policy reform can prevent irresponsible development by raising the minimum standards, just as zoning and building codes have done in other areas. Let's focus on cutting out the worst while leaving room for the best. Prescriptive design policy would yield prescriptive design. The question has been asked, how can the city incentivize design excellence through policy reform? It can't. It should strive to create an environment that encourages creativity through process without mandating aesthetics. The landmarks we cherish are a product of our finest minds creatively navigating constraints in ways that no one else could do at their time. Landmarks are not a product of mandates or policy. They exist in spite of them. It's been nearly a century since we've seen this caliber of design and construction rising around us in the city. The recent residential market, in particular, has put modern business values on display like never before. We can debate which skyscraper is best, but what's remarkable is the number of good candidates to choose from today. Today's body of work confirms that widespread understanding that design itself is not a goal, but it's actually the most effective means to an end, achieving long-term financial stability of an asset, a company, and our collective city. More proof that when properly balanced, private business necessities and public design demands need not be mutually exclusive. So how can the private residential segment be so functional? The incentives of taking the long view are already at work. Buyers are discerning, bloggers are ruthless, investors look for a track record, popular brands are drawing talent like never before. Good process builds good product. Good product is necessary for a healthy business. Simple, obvious incentives. Design First and other design-centric mandates are not needed in this segment. But not every sector of the city sees such clean execution on globally recognized design. As you've already heard today from a number of people, projects within the public sector are struggling and confidence is eroding. The 2nd Avenue Subway, the Western Gateway, East River Esplanade, Ground Zero, LaGuardia Airport, Penn Station. Nobody believes that these projects will be done efficiently, on time or on budget, if they ever get done at all. The concept of world-class infrastructure with superlative design touches only a few of these projects and quickly becomes the source of excuses and irresponsible spending or management. The city's in desperate need of infrastructure, but is armed with empty coffers and a broken process to deliver them. Despite these large-scale projects being wrought with issues, I'm here to tell you that we, specifically, want to tackle them. Most of us became builders because we love to build. We thrive in complexity and love to see the concrete solutions. Beyond that, our existing business as developers of making great places to live and work is clearly dependent on people wanting to live and work in this city. The biggest challenges come with the biggest opportunities. The public holds more land with more potential in this city than any private company could. With proper process, those underutilized assets can be made into public equity through proper public-private partnerships. The risk versus control equation is the fundamental difference between development in the public and private sector. The key to bringing responsible process and significant investment is actually quite simple. It lies in the equal distribution of risk among the invested parties. When everyone has something to lose, in addition as things to gain, it puts the onus on everyone to move forward. How do we get the private sector to engage fully in these public demands? We need to clearly delineate who's making the calls. We need to establish timeframes in which these decisions have to be made. We have to disclose risks up front, even if their solutions aren't known. Finally, we need to establish clear parameters of the relationship to align the incentives by sharing the risk. So where do we start? Properly structured public-private partnership put our cities and its businesses' best skills to work on our hardest problems, incentivized to execute. Too many of us have come to accept infrastructure in New York City as only a basic building block, but that can't be good enough. The private development community has the talent, and we understand how to overcome these hurdles, and I'll let our work speak for itself in just how much we believe in superlative products. We're ready. Thank you.